morning, beloveds. I just realized the camera angle is just a little there. Okay. It's always dicey to touch the iPad because it might collapse. But here we are. Okay. We had like several days of rain, and it was kind of a cool morning, and apparently it's going to get up to 88 today. But there's supposed to be a cool front coming in tomorrow, so fingers crossed. Because 88, not excited. Not excited at all. All right, so we are doing Living the Science of Mind, so let's get the housekeeping out of the way first. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact is email. The constant contact email is info@creativelife.org. It is one email a week, unless something unusual happens. It's a blind CC. Nobody's going to see your email. It tells you what's going on for the week of the month, and the hot links are hot. It means if it says click here now, it'll take you right to the information you want or the person that can help you get it. So there's that. All right. I think, social media. I mean, I'm doing this on social media, right? But what we want you to know is we don't monetize our social media. We don't want to deal with ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do is to engage with our pages. When you engage with our pages, it bumps us in the algorithms. What do I mean by that? Like, subscribe, share, follow, comment. By doing all of that, it bumps us in the algorithm. So we think we have good stuff to share. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, depending on which social media you are dealing with. And I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social media that I am on. So, yeah. Okay. That is that. And I think I'm good. So let's get on with this. We're going to do a series of shorter ones, thankfully, because the last few have been really long. And our title today is, now let me remind you that what these essays are, is they come from the take-home course. It was at the back of the Science of Mind magazine. You could mail off for it, and then once a week you would get a lesson in the mail. And what it looks like, these are essays where somebody probably came up to Ernest or mailed Ernest a question and said, hey, what about this? And so Ernest wrote an essay. And so the essays were in the take-home course, which is why it feels like he's, one, answering a question, and two, talking directly to you. They also call this his commentary on his textbook, the Science of Mind text, which is true, because we just did the Declaration of Principles, which, it was really interesting. It was really cool. So that's what these articles are. And I really do, because I've read the textbook. I did it online. You can go and look. This is much more user friendly. So, but yeah, I read the entire textbook. I got the first chapter up on the Science of Mind on the Creative Life website. But if you want somebody to read the textbook to you, and you'll get a little commentary, go to the Running Rev Ryan YouTube page, and you can look, because they're in playlist by chapter for the Science of Mind text. All right, so the article today, or the essay today, is The Discovery of God is Personal. No one can find God for us. Each individual must do this for themselves. We cannot find God outside of the self because we cannot go outside of the self. There is no place where we begin and God leaves off. We can find God only within ourselves. At first, this seems almost blasphemous. Blasphemous. I know how to pronounce that word. As though one were setting oneself up as God. But such is not the case. One is merely setting oneself up as a center in the consciousness of God, forever one with God, an incarnation of the universal. The gift is not of a person's endeavor, but of life itself. This is the gift made from the foundation of the world and is self-evidently true. It does not look as though we could discover God within the self, because we look at ourselves and say, well, look at me. I am poor, weak, miserable, unhappy, disconsolate, and forlorn. I do not look at myself and say that. I do not look at myself and say that. And you tell me that I shall find God in the midst of this chaotic mess, which I call myself. I do call myself a chaotic mess, though. It does look discouraging and like a forlorn hope. But still, we must consider this the starting point, for there can be no other place to begin on the road to self-discovery, the discovery that leads back to the original force. Gradually, as we shear the belief in separation from our consciousness, the chaos produced by it, the inhibitions and inner turmoil, we emerge on the other side of this chaotic mess and find that heaven was waiting there all the time. Nothing has happened to it, as in the experience of the prodigal of old. The Father's house was still where it had always been. But just wishing, hoping, or longing will not bring about this self-discovery. There must be a persistent and painstaking attempt to separate everything from us that does not belong to the spiritual person. It might be well to use an illustration here. Suppose we have no peace of mind, no contentment, and no security, and are confused and consequently beset with anxiety and uncertainty, and the feeling that the times are out of joint. How shall we proceed? First of all, we should have at least a sound mental equivalent and psychological basis for a new conviction. Jesse talked about mental equivalents on Sunday, so feel free to go back and look at, it's the first Sunday in May 2025, okay? He did a really good talk on mental equivalents and why they are so important. All right. And that would be on the Creative Life YouTube channel. All right. How did we get here anyway? We know very well we did not put ourselves here. Nothing is more certain than that a person never created themselves. They merely awaken to self-discovery. Therefore, we detach all confusion from the mind by identifying ourselves with the Spirit. God is not poor, God nor weak, not unhappy. God is not frustrated. God is not in lack. And what is true about God is true about us. Therefore, there is no unhappiness to the real self. That's capital R, capital S, by the way. There is no insecurity in the spiritual ego. There is no frustration in the mind of God within us. Logic and reason conspire to show us that this must be true, no matter what the appearance may be to the contrary. There is still a spiritual center. Standeth God within the shadows, keeping watch over its own. We, too, must keep watch, uprooting a false thought here and there, thought here and another one there, until finally, in both intellect and feeling, we reach back to the center of the divine presence within us. Which is why I talk so frequently about weeding our garden. If our mind is our garden, then all of those unwanted thoughts, those are what we have to root out. Pull them out by the roots. Because if we spend too much time thinking about them, they become creative. And that is not what we want. All right. Others may show us how they did this, may even suggest how we can proceed, but there is a path that every person must walk alone. Yet not alone, because forevermore there is a spirit that beckons, a presence that feels out towards us as we feel towards it. The saying being that when we take a step towards God, God runs to us. Someday we shall all rest in its warm embrace. Yes, the discovery of the self is to the self and by the self. There is no use delaying, no use waiting for something to come along or someone who can do this for us. For no such person exists. This is why Jesus told his followers that it was expedient that he go away in order that the Spirit of truth might reveal itself to them, might reveal to them the meaning of everything he had taught them. It's like we can walk the path to, like we can walk side by side on the path, but nobody can walk our path for us. We should not wish it otherwise, for if someone else held the key to our palace, how should we enter it? If someone else had to live for us, we could never live for ourselves. The great and the long and meaningful secret of life is bound up in the self-discovery, and the most fortunate moment in our lives will be that moment when we come to realize that we must take ourselves for better or for worse. Starting right where we are and disregarding time or effort, counting as gain only that which conspires to awaken us to the ultimate reality. We shall travel back to the center and the source. But there should be no morbid outlook on this, for thy need we encounter for... Okay, hang on. Let me try that again. But there should be no morbid outlook on this, for why need we encounter more unhappiness? Why not think of the opportunity as one filled with peace and fraught with opportunities? Once we are sure that there is a goal to reach and the Spirit is directing us, we can be certain that we shall one day arrive, perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow. But is not each step on the road one step closer to reaching our source. Let us all then accept the simple fact that the road to God is through the self, and that the pathway to an ever-increasing experience can be filled with joy. We can sing as we go along, and why need we deny ourselves the privilege of immediate union? For all the long tomorrows will be but continuations of the short todays. Why not find life here and now? There is a really cool story that we've used, and I don't know where it originates from. I don't know what tradition. I don't know who started it, but it was talking about people's divinity. And so God and the angels are talking, and they're like, so we're going to put the breath of life in humanity. We're going to put the divine spark in humanity. And the angels, so they're talking about the divine spark. And the angels are like, well, where are we going to put it? Should we put it on the highest mountain? And God says, nope. Eventually they will climb the highest mountain. They'll get there. I've made them clever. So the angels are like, okay, so should we put it in the deepest ocean? And God says, nope. I've made them clever. Remember? Intelligent. They'll get there. All right, the angels are like, well, what about the furthest reaches of outer space? And again, God says, nope. They'll get there eventually. The angels are like, well, where are we going to put this divine spark then? And God said, we'll put it inside them because they'll never look there. That's what that essay is. The divine spark that you are seeking is within you. And as Ernest says, there's no point in beating yourself up, and there's nobody who can show you how to access that divine spark other than you. Like, we can talk about templates. We can talk about, okay, well, this is the way I did it. This thing, but all of that comes to nothing if you are not willing to access it yourself, because it's within you. There's no other place the divine spark can be. And I love that Ernest keeps trying to make these logical arguments. He makes logical arguments. Okay? But he also reminds us that our feelings are very, very, very important. So you should never go your heart should never take you anywhere that your head doesn't go along, and your head should never go anywhere without bringing your heart along. Mind and heart. And that is how you find the divine spark. All right, beloveds. Gonna move on into the process of my day. So I'm gonna now encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, fantastic day, magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. We got this day. Let's enjoy the sunshine day. Drink plenty of water day. Stay out of the direct sunlight day. Don't get a sunburn day. Take care of yourself day. Tell somebody you love them day. Cuddle your fur babies day. Do what you gotta do day. You got this day. A good day. And if that's too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace, or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, and as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godly. All right? Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. It's all the divine knows. And from there, anything is possible. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you tomorrow. And tomorrow, we have a really, really, really short one. That's it. So, all right, beloveds. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.